And welcome to Inside the Program, brought to you on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel, powered by InsideTexas.com. I'm your host, Justin Wells. With me, as always, is Eric Nalin. But before you hear anything, join Inside Texas today. We have a fantastic promo going on right now, the kickoff sale. You get 50% off of annual memberships. And all you got to do is use that promo code KICKOFF24. It's the last day for this flash sale. That's 50% off of a yearly subscription to the InsideTexas.com. You'll get all the team reports, opponent analysis, the latest recruiting news, and more, all for just 50% off. It's our best membership value at just $4.99 per month, billed annually. Sign up today. Use that promo code KICKOFF24 and save instantly on the best Texas Longhorns site out there. Link to to join in the description. It's there for you guys. Come see us. One day until Texas football. And Eric, we've got here. It's been a long 9 months, man.
Hey, I think it went by fast. It goes faster and faster, I guess, because life goes faster once you have a kid. But it kind of went by for me. It wasn't so bad, other than July. July was a drag.
Yeah, I don't think it went by for fans. I think that momentum from last year, they wanted to bottle that up and keep it going. And so that can work too. Hey, let's just jump right into it. We got some team stuff to talk about. We got some recruiting stuff to talk about, and we ain't got nothing but time. Team leadership. There's no Rashawn Johnson. There's no Bijan Robinson. There's no Byron Murphy. And Sark talked about it, I think, a little bit during this week in his presser about how it's more of a group of guys that are doing it now. I know Quinn Ewers, we've heard him speaking up a little bit more, and a few other players, Jahdae Barron, another one. But talk a little bit about team leadership and what sources are letting you know 24 hours before kickoff.
Yeah, well, first, it's that time of year where we check under the hood and see what we're missing. We do a final inspection. There's got to be something we're missing about this team that's going to come out, on our TV screens and on the field this year that we're like, hey, how did we miss that during fall camp? Could be good. Yeah. It could be bad. But we're trying to check every last thing we can, see what we're missing. So I've been on the phone a lot the last 18 hours, was on the phone even at 1 o'clock last night. And, we're just trying to figure out what we're missing, what could possibly be out there. So that comment that Sark made was mildly concerning just because, the old saying, if you have a lot of leaders, you don't have any.
Yeah.
I think what he was talking about was he had a lot of guys that he trusts to really carry the program culture forward, guys that are good examples for the younger players. But there's still plenty of actual leaders. Quinn Ewers is one, Jake Majors is one, Barron Sorrell, of course, Jahdae Barron, Michael Taft. I think those would be the foundation of your team leaders. And then you have plenty of guys that are within their position group are considered leaders. Gunnar Helm is the leader of the tight end room. Alfred Collins and Vernon Broughton are the leaders in that defensive tackle room. And then you got the linebackers, which, they're kind of considered team leaders, position group leaders, but there's three of them. Maurice Blackwell, of course, David Benda, and Anthony Hill going to be on the helmet communications. We knew that was going to happen. He's going to be your de facto leader of the team on defense. He's still a little young and growing into that leadership role, but I don't think it lacks for team leaders. But when you're trying to figure out what could go wrong, leadership is one of them, because the second adversity hits, they get down by a touchdown against Michigan and they're in the third quarter. You need your leaders to step up, refocus everybody, start making plays. But you can see more leaders emerge over the course of the season. What I mentioned is the portal guys that they're not. You wouldn't necessarily call any of the portal guys leaders yet, just because they're so new to the program. But they have some of those leadership intangibles. Trey Moore. Of course, Andrew Makuba is part of that Centex defensive secondary. He knows those guys well, does all the right things. So I don't think it lacks for team leadership. I don't think it lacks for individual leadership. That's a concern that I don't have.
And once the games start playing, when your better players are your leaders, that's when you're headed in the right direction. I think that's where you're going to see more a Trey Moore kind of take on that, because he was the leader at UTSA. He has those kind of qualities, and I think that's going to wind up coming out once the season starts to happen. Talk about the locker room. We've talked about the depth. We've talked about we give a pretty good injury report. We've talked about the depth chart. But what is that vibe going on in the locker room? Because we remember what it was like this year before the season started last year. We remember exactly kind of how everyone was lining up, kind of how people felt about what the season could potentially bring. What is the vibe this year when they've had so many guys returning, despite the fact they lost 11 guys to the NFL draft? What's that locker room vibe right now?
Yeah, locker room is sort of tangential to leadership, and I think the locker room's in a good place. That's something you always have to monitor, especially in the NIL age.
Yes.
There's a bunch of human beings in that room, and people can be jealous of one another. I'm not saying they are at Texas. That's just kind of human nature.
Right.
And so you got the potential of NIL, and then playing time is always something to watch. There's a lot of guys. When you talk about depth and talent, the problem is those guys want to play immediately. They want to play a lot. And you can't play everyone at once. So that will be something to monitor going forward, depending on how the season progresses. Guys not getting the reps that they hope to. But going into the season right now, I feel good about it, as good as I can in this day and age where NIL does play a factor. The guy sitting next to you might have more than you from NIL deals or whatever. But I think right now the locker room's in a really good spot. That's another concern that I don't really have, but it is something to monitor if guys aren't getting their reps throughout the season.
Yeah. And like you said, in the NIL era, that is always something to check on, because I've actually heard negative from other programs over the last few years about how that can twist the locker room when it goes in that direction. Team conditioning, this group's going to have to be in shape. They've got a long season ahead, and depth is going to be one reason. Staying healthy is going to be one reason. But tell us a little bit about what the sources are telling you right before we go into the Colorado State game. What's this team conditioning looking like?
Good as ever. I heard actually it's empirically proven that it's been better shape than it was a year ago through testing metrics and whatnot. So I'm not concerned about that. We talk about that test they do every August that's sort of foreshadows how the season's going to go. It's a test that Becton had going back to previous stops, and usually it's eerily accurate. Last year, in fact, it predicted 12 wins. This year, I'm not going to say what it predicted, but it predicted more than 12 wins. I'm cautiously optimistic because, I don't know enough of the details of the test. I know it tests them as far as, conditioning and, keeping focus. They test them when they're tired. But I'm optimistic. I think, look at Steve Sarkisian. He looks different than he did in May. We were sitting there going, oh, he's on the carb diet. He's leaned up a lot through the summer. I think he's getting ready to lead them down the tunnel. I think they're in great shape. We'll see the season. That's another thing. The season might expose if they're tired in the fourth quarter. But another thing you mentioned depth. When your defensive tackles are only playing 40 snaps instead of 60 or 70, that's a big advantage that Texas is going to have over a lot of schools. That's a big advantage Texas is going to have even in the SEC, not just over Big 12 schools the last couple of years.
Yeah, and that to me has been such a vital part of their fourth quarter in the last 2 years, those guys being able to do that. I'll tell you somebody else that's in good condition, and he's in condition to help you guys anytime you're in trouble, anytime you're in need. He's Andre the Lawyer. This video is brought to you by the man, Andre the Lawyer. If you have been injured, trust the team that has secured millions for their clients and helped thousands of Texans with their injury cases. Car wrecks, slip and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, wrongful deaths. Do not let that insurance company tell you what your claim's worth. That's what Andre the Lawyer's for. He's based out of Dallas, but he will help Texans throughout the state. Please give him a call at 214-444-8808. That's Andre the Lawyer. If you get in trouble, he's the guy to hang on to. He's the guy, he's conditioned to help you out. 214-444-8808.
Sorry, I thought you did. Yeah, he is in good condition right now. He yo-yo diets. He could be an embarrassing sight to see some points, but right now he's on his note, counting his calories and all that. I'm going to sit next to him in Michigan and try to get him eating some bad food, see if I can do it. There's plenty of options up there, but yeah, he is in good condition right now. I'm proud of him.
And I love how he tell him his picture was an AI generated.
Oh yeah, that's only partially him.
That's why we love Andre the Lawyer. Give that guy a call if you ever need to. All right, man. Here's a question. I get this. I've had this in the offseason quite a bit. I know you have. Is this team going to be better than last season? Just cut to the chase, Eric.
Yeah, well, that's how I finished up one of my calls. And people are going to want to use that promo because the article we wrote this morning is just the macro overview. We're going to have another post today that goes into much more detail. But one of the calls ended. I'm like, hey, look, just shoot me straight. Do you feel like it's better than last year? And he goes, yeah. And then he paused for a minute. He goes, a lot better. There's emphasis on the way he said it. I think he started thinking back to last season, how they had so many close calls against teams that weren't all that great.
Yeah.
TCU and U of H come to mind. Kansas State was pretty good. And he's like, yeah, we're a lot better. So talk about all the things we've talked about throughout the offseason. It's not just fan fiction. You can see it coming alive. It's the roster gets more talented every year. more experienced every year. There's more depth. They've done a wonderful job with the portal to fill the blind spots created by the NFL draft. And so, yeah, I think they are better. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they'll be 11-1 in the regular season. They're playing a more difficult schedule. But I do think you're going to see a better brand of football. I think you will see a more dominating team more consistently against the weaker opponents. I don't think they're going to be giving up 20-point leads to the likes of U of H. And so, they're confident, so I might as well be confident. But I got one more call today, and I'm going to poke even harder. Like a mechanic, I'm going to take out that dentist mirror and go get down underneath the transmission and all that and look for any leaks. We got to keep prodding and figuring out what's what. And I'll take another look in the next article about any potential last-minute changes on depth chart. They did have a week of practice this week, so maybe something changed in our projections there. But yeah, Inside Texas is on fire right now. Go check out that promo code Kickoff24.
We're also going to check for sludge in the ice machine.
Oh man, slime in the ice machine, man. You're not a Houstonian.
Marvin Zindler.
It wasn't
news.
Sludge, it was slime in the ice. Oh my god.
Slime, sludge. I've been watching Bar Rescue, and they call it sludge. Yeah, the bottom disgusting. Of that.
You don't want to know the details in those dirty ass bars.
Yeah, no. Those days are long gone.
That'll keep me from going to them. I don't want to know anything.
Hey, I'm telling you, I saw. Never mind, but just that's where that came from, because I've been watching a little bit too much Bar Rescue. But truth be known, that was just a quick kind of recap of our team stuff. There's so much more at InsideTexas.com. Like Eric said, we're going to have another volume of team notes coming up later today. So please come to Inside Texas and use that promo code Kickoff24. Let's finish up with some recruiting, because I got to tell you, buddy, I've enjoyed August a lot more than we did July. Pretty good little week. 2 5-stars and a big 4-star out of Georgia in the last 7 days. Potentially another 5-star on the way. Let's just cut to the chase. Jamie French, hey, it's a revolution. He's headed to Austin. He is the second 5-star in the class of 2025 out of Jacksonville, Florida, in Mandarin High School. That's big. Him and Khalid Lockett, I think, are very complimentary, something Joe Cook and I touched on in the commitment video. But there's another guy on the hook that people need to know about, and he doesn't necessarily have a decision date, Eric, but sources are leading us to believe this one's not going to take very much longer. You want to go ahead and unveil it for the fans?
Well, yeah, I mean, we've been talking about Michael Terry. I don't know when he's going to decide. It could happen tomorrow or, a month from now. Right now, Texas feels good. And you know what? If they get him, I really like the parts, how they fit. Jamie French, Khalid Lockett, perfect outside receivers. I'll be curious to see who plays the boundary, who plays the field long term. I don't think it truly matters. They kind of both have deceptive length. Big catch radius, great hands, really good hands. I don't think we're ever going to hear about drops when those guys are out on the field. And then Michael Terry is a big slot machine, sort of like little Jordan Humphrey with his change of direction, his running back ability after the catch. I think it's a match made in heaven. It's not necessarily exactly the burner that Sark uses, but he can use a little. He'll adapt to whatever player he has. I think Texas is in a good spot for him. That would make four 5-stars in the class. Still plenty of work to do on defense, but look, this month is a good example of why you don't get too low during July and you don't get too high during August. You just put your faith in the staff. Understand that they know what it takes to fill out the roster. Look at how they've rebuilt the roster in the last couple of years. Why would they stop now? And so, we're going to focus on defensive tackle now. Offense is pretty much done outside of Terry. Maybe they take a late wide receiver or a late offensive lineman. You never know. But, now our focus outside of Terry switches to defense. I can't wait to cover it.
Or a late corner.
Corner is on defense. So
no. You're saying with defensive tackles, I was like tackles, and I think there could be a late corner thrown into that mix as well.
They're still pushing for corners. I bet they would take another safety. And if anybody watched Jonah Williams last night, that guy can play wherever the hell he wants. I've got my guy Jay Milburn down in Galveston County comparing him. He said he's a combination of Noah Thomas, a long, lean receiver out of Clear, whatever, one of those. I always get the Clears mixed
Clear
up.
Springs, I think, that went to A&M.
Yeah, he's a long, bendy guy, and then a combination of Noah and Evan Stewart. So that's a pretty impressive combination. So I'll be curious to see how it all unfolds with Jonah. Chris Jackson was in that recruitment a little bit. Of course, he's going to start off on safety, but wouldn't rule it out. Just an amazing talent. What did he have? 4 touchdowns or 5 touchdowns last night? I think it was 5.
he had 5 in like 3 different ways. Two
Yeah,
or three different ways.
He slacked off and didn't get a touchdown on defense, but he had a kickoff return, 2 receptions, and 2 carries out of Wildcat quarterback. So I don't know. He only had pass breakups on defense, no pick sixes.
But he did have a blocked extra point just for good measure. And so I think it was easy to see why Jonah Williams is number 10 player in the country and the number 1 safety in the United States, according to the On3 industry rankings. Eric, it's been a pleasure. This offseason, it's been fun, but buddy, it gets real tomorrow. And I got to be honest with you, I'm ready. I've been ready. I've been playing college football 25 with the little kid. I'm focused. Like this video, subscribe to the Inside Texas YouTube channel. Help us climb to this 10,000 subscriber mark. We are coming up each time. Help us get to that mark. Also, remember, last day for the flash sale, use the promo code KICKOFF24 for 50% off an annual subscription of InsideTexas.com. It really is the best time. We are having a blast. It might be craziness in the background, but in the front seat, we got a big windshield, and we're having a good time. Colorado State and the Fighting Jay Norvells come to Austin on Saturday. Be at InsideTexas.com. That's where you're going to see it. Eric, thank you as always. Fans, thank you for making us a part of your day and joining us on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel, powered by InsideTexas.com.